exactly right about now. I mean, if you look around, America falling apart, Earth fighting back, all these natural events, you know what I'm talking about? It's time for a mass awakening, spiritual enlightenment. Talking about? Yeah.
I'm just trying to live my life, make it through these days of time. Am I the only one who's wondering?
No, I'm not. Teacher, 9 ether, timekeeper, bear witness for the blind creature, mind reader, not college, God knowledge. It pop up like E. coli and Oswalders. Now who can see me? I raise my kundalini, yeah, EOG, lowercase G-O-D, the snake charmer, great karma, tear through the fake armor. They gonna hate on ya. Well, I'm just trying to live it out. If it's money, I get it, but when I get it, I give it out. The original, stern individual, burning residuals, learning life. If you listen a little, you will learn a lot. You see, I oil in my Glock in the boiling pot. Many men dream dreams that are spoiled and rotten and betray you, loyal or not, royal thought.
I'm just trying to live my life, make it through these days of time. Am I the only one who's wondering?
Nah, you ain't the only one. Place to go. We ain't going nowhere. We gonna make it through this one. You know what I'm talking about? It's just nothing. Now we gotta find the power in you. You gotta find the power in you. And I'm good. As I sat at my workbench, carving this marvelous sculpture for culture vultures. Ether utopia back in Ethiopia. What you wanna do? What you wanna know? See the power of the fire and when they come and go. But the earth and the water are the H2O. They remain sustained as I traverse the verse, collect money and disperse the purse. The worst first and the best for last. Y'all can eat now, but the rest for cash. And Ray beats stay heat. I'm just trying to tread water in 8 feet. But every time I look down, I think it ain't deep. If you're wondering, my third open, I ain't sleep. Town rockin' the brow chakra, headed to the crown chakra.
I'm just trying to live my life, make it through these days of time. Am I the only one who's wondering?
We gon' be right here. Ready, man. It's the original about to wake up, man. Mass awakening, spiritual enlightenment, man. I hope you know. It's the end of the 5th son of materialism, man. Ready for the 6th son of flowering, you know what I mean? Enlightenment, you know what I mean? Everybody gonna feel that light, you know what I'm talking about?
I'm just trying to live my life, make it through these days of time. Am I the only one who's wondering?
Peace, 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 and peace again. Welcome to the Sesh channel. This your brother Wajau Menib Edi Ma'at, coming to you live and direct as a drive-by. We are pulling up. Yes, indeed, we are pulling up. We are pulling up on the YouTube streets. We done turned the corner. We almost ran a red light, but we didn't. We stopped, waited for the light to turn green, and now we are cruising. So just want to say shout out to everybody who's tuned in, who will be tuned in, may watch this in the archives. This is another night of Kemet and Chill, open discussions, Q&A. Don't really have a topic or presentation to give. So on these nights of Kemet and Chill, open discussions, we let the chat direct the conversation. Or you come in on the panel and let your voice be heard. All right. We put the panel link into the chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So if you would like to join us on the panel, feel free. Everyone is invited. And that's how we run it. So again, this is Kemet and Chill, where we let everyone else drive the car. So I'm in the passenger seat, and just gonna go wherever the driver goes. So I just want to jump in and know what's on you all's minds. It's Wednesday evening, hump day, close of hump day, as people call it. We're in the middle of the week. It's 10:30 on the East Coast, and since the internet, we have different time zones. I know some people are up and about doing what they do, but if you want to get some good conversations, some studying, and some questions, some answers, some corrections, some critiques, whatever, just bring it all. Bring it. All right. But I would definitely like to say that the music that you just heard me play, and if y'all just tuned in, you missed it, I'm gonna play it again. But the music that you heard me just play is music by Casual, aka the Magi Archer, aka Smash Rockwell, aka Jonathan Owens. Everybody knows Smash. And I think that is my favorite song on his discography. And make sure you definitely go and pick it up. All right. Salute and shout out to Smash Rockwell. I don't know if he's tuned in, but he probably tuned in later or whatever. But definitely pick it up. And actually, I think yes, Emiket posted the link. May want to post it a few times, but the link to get his music is in the chat. All right, support the brother. We all support each other, and subscribe to his channel. I think it's Smash Rockwell. YouTube search Smash Rockwell. If you're subscribed to this channel, subscribe to his. Subscribe to everybody's channel that you see us bouncing back and forth. You got the Mosi Warrior Clans. I know you got Science with Sean. I don't know if Sean has a separate channel or not. Asar Imhotep, the Sesh, Smash Rockwell. You got Brother Garfield's channel. I forget the exact title. You got the Pseudo Killers. So you'll and I mention all those channels because these topics will kind of bounce around on these channels, and certain ones will get more detailed, and it gives you options. Each channel is slightly a bit different. We do things the way we do things here. Other channels do things the way other channels do. I can't. That's all I can say. So yeah, Brother Garfield podcast. There you go. Shout out to Brother Zane, Damo Hotep, Everything is Everything, Donnie Williams, No Ma'am, Sunnet Safa, OG Gorilla, Peace, Tony Macaroni. Who else we have? Oh, we got Brother Sean in the house. Yep. So Sean, you can put the link to the other channel. And Monica, Yahuru Drums, Monica Lamb, the hardest working woman on these internet streets. Yep, that's all. Oh, Fire Lightness was up in here first. All right. So let's jump in. It's Kimmy to chill. It's no rocket science. No, like I said, whenever you see our title, Kemet and Chill Open Discussion, I'm gonna put a date with it just so we could separate which is which video is which, because but Kemet and Chill is a series of lives that we're having where you all direct traffic, you all drive the car. All right, so this is where I pay attention to the chat. Oh, and we do have somebody on the panel. I'm up here leaving. Oh, excuse my manners. I'm hogging the. All right. Let everybody else on the panel. I'm hogging everything. Pardon my manners. So we got Sunat Emikat Aku Kinshaya Kinyi, and we have brother. I just see the name S for Sean, I think. So yeah,
Yes, for Sean.
peace.
Peace.
All right,
Can
peace,
you hear
peace,
me?
peace. Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
So look, I had like two questions I want to ask.
All
The
right, so
first
you're not
one,
you're not wasting time. You jumping right in. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Jump
yeah,
jump right in.
yeah. So the first one I got, it pertains to when you was had your show on the thieving mapping system, right?
Yep.
And the discrepancies between that. So during the conversation, you had answered one question that I had, but then that led to another question. So the original question I had was when you was talking about the name that they use for that they misnomered Nubians, right? The
Yeah.
Nehesu.
Right.
And then
Nahisi.
you said that the Nehesi.
Yeah, Nahisi you. Well, it
Nehisi. So you
depends
said
on who
that
you
the
talk to.
Nehisi is what they referred to people that was everybody south of Kemet.
Right.
So my question is, at that time period, was Kush not a nation yet, or because I know that there was times that they referred to Kush as like Val Kush, right? Like, I hear people talk about that. So when did,
Hmm.
if Kush wasn't a nation, when exactly did Kush become a formal nation?
Well, the first part of the question is yes, it was because the word Kush, the name Kush is used alongside the name of other names of the Nahisi or the
Okay,
Nahisi. So Kush was present. Kush was there. Now, in terms of its growth and strength to become an empire and things, that may have been um, the build up over time. But as
right.
far as its presence and it being known as that name, as a matter of fact, if you want to remember this, the autobiography of Winnie, Weni. If you
Okay.
if you read that, as a matter of fact, let me try to pull it up real quick, just so we can have some references while we are talking, because it's online. Let's see, autobiography of Winnie. Yeah, cause see on these Kim and Chills, we just pull stuff up right in real time. Let's see where there's a good one that I used to see. That's crazy because when I don't look for stuff, I always say this: when you don't look for stuff, it be right in your
Okay.
face, and then when you need it, okay, I found one, but it's not the one that I used to see because the one I used to see was real clear on a light background. This one is. I don't like websites that have black backgrounds and white letter. That's hard on your eyes. Um, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to show you this one, but on your own time, you could pull it up when you can. But I'm gonna show you this one.
How did you spell Winnie again?
Weni. All right, so let me just share this one. It just got a green background. I don't know why people. That's like so old school in terms of websites. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see my screen. I know the words are small, so let me increase this. Okay, autobiography autobiography of Winnie, and so you'll see where Kush is mentioned in here, where they're soliciting people to join the army, and some officials are sent to do recruitment and whatnot in the South, and so you'll see a list of names of different people. So let me just try to fast forward down to that portion. As a matter of fact, let me just do a search for Kush. Is the word Kush gonna show up? Nope. What is Iram? Nope. See, I don't know what this one's gonna call him, because people don't say Kush. All right, let's say Nubian. All right, there we go. See, the word I do not like using, it will pop up. All right, so if you can see this paragraph right here, it says, I'll just read it. It says, when His Majesty took action against the Asiatic sand dwellers, His Majesty made an army of many tens of thousands from all of Upper Egypt, from Yebu in the south to Medinet in the north, from Lower Egypt, from all of the two sides of the house of the Sejer and Khensejeru, or Shejru, and from Irjet Nubians, Magi Nubians, Yam Nubians, Wawat Nubians, Kau Nubians, and from Chime land. So when you see Irchet Nubians, Magi Nubians, Yam, and Wawat, the word they're using for Nubians is the word Nahisiu.
Gotcha.
All right, and then it says and Chime land. Now before that, because evidently they don't have the word Kush in here. I just did a search for Kush. They don't have it in here, so I'm not sure what they're calling it. But I can pull up the glyphs and show you the word Kush as used in this autobiography. But so my point. So when you look it up, just you want to do some more research on it. But so the point is, to answer your question, is the Kush was known back then.
All right, lovely. All right, so here goes my second question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is I'm assuming this question is probably going to be like something you can actually have a show out of. So, not too long ago, I finished reading a book called The Scheme. What's it called? The Scheme, the Chronological Scheme of Egypt, or the the Scheme of chronology. That book at? But anyway, in the book, he talks about why he feel as though the Egyptian kings list should be dated the way that he feels as though it should be dated, right? Which is, in his assumption, a lot older than what the mainstream scholars would date it. Now, what he's using for his to validate his claims is a lot of calendar references, right? What festivals was going forth at what times, and how that would have related in regards to like certain I guess certain solar not solar but certain astrological events would have been taking place during certain periods of time, and that's how he was marking his kingdom. But in that book, though, he got a little over my head. So there's multiple calendars that he talked about in Kemet. He talks about the fixed calendar, the sacred calendar, and then the Roman calendar. And I kind of think that I know what they are, but I really don't know what they are.
Right.
So like I think one probably pertains to like a calendar, like how we have like what's that in February, like every 4 years where you have the extra day in February.
The
I
leap
think
year.
the leap year. I think one might probably contain to something like that, right? But like I said, I really he kind of lost me on that, and I didn't know if you had if you knew about those different calendars and exactly how they use them.
yes. All right, yeah. So the calendar system is, and you're right. We could do a whole show on the calendar system because there's a lot to talk about it and unpack about that because really essentially what we're talking about is the way the ancient Egyptians kept time because
My bad, I
calendar.
didn't mean to cut you off, but the name of the book is called A Scheme of Egyptian Chronology, and it's an old book. It's written by a guy called Duncan McNaughton.
Okay, okay. Um, but on the issue of calendars, calendars is a big clock. Um, it's just a bigger assessment or bigger assessment of timekeeping rather than within the daytime 24-hour time period or whatever. And so in ancient Egypt there were two major calendars in use, and today's scholars refer to those two calendars as the religious calendar and then the civil calendar. And one of the calendars, or they will call it the sidereal calendar. So you can look that up. I'm just saying these words, so you may want
Yes,
to
he mentions
jot
that
those
too in
down.
there. That word sidereal.
Yeah, so you got the sidereal calendar, which is a calendar that follows the natural occurrences of the seasons and things like that. But then you have the civil calendar, and so um, the civil calendar is it roams around. It moves. The actual days move around, meaning that the way that I explain it is if you were to draw a circle within a circle, and then you have the number, and I usually put a diagram and stuff. So maybe we could have a show in the future, and I could show these diagrams. But in my classes, when I teach the language in the beginners level of the classes, there's a section of the study where I briefly go over the dating system and stuff like that. And so the civil calendar moves because an actual year is 365.25 days. And so every 4 years, there's a discrepancy of one day. And we all know this today because even in the United States, we have a leap year. So every 4 years, February gets an extra day added to compensate for that missing day after 4 years transpires by. Well, the Egyptians knew it too, except they didn't stick another day in there. They allowed the calendar to move back one day every 4 years. So the calendar goes backwards one day every 4 years, and for it to make a complete cycle going throughout the days and ending up where it began, like from where it starts to back around to where it began, it's approximately 1,460 years, if I'm not mistaken, and they refer to that as the Great Year of Ra. So 1,460 years it takes for the calendar to go all the way around the other calendar. And so what people tend to do is use those dates and things to project the Egyptian civilization way back in time, and then you have the Manetho kings list and the rule of the gods, ruling for 900 years and this and that, where people will say, Egyptian civilization was way older than we say, and things like that. That's the only thing I can account for people using those extreme dates. But but back to the calendars though, the the calendar system in Egypt was created, monitored, and maintained from a specific place in Egypt, which is Mennefer, aka Memphis. That is the point of observation that was used to create this timekeeping system that we call a calendar. It's from that location. Because if you go up in latitude or down too far, it's going to change the perception and trajectory of what you observe in the stars. I mean, in the night sky. And so they started their year at the heliacal rising of a star we call Sirius today, but to them it was called Sapdet. And that triggered the flooding of the Nile. All right. And so that began their new year called Wep Renepet, which means the opening of the year. And it's from that event is where their seasonal calendar or the sidereal calendar is known to start. but the civil calendar moved around. All right, so that's pretty much the gist of what I could say about calendars right now. Now the author you're talking about, I'm not familiar with that book, so I can't really speak to too much on any of that.
I got you. No, but that was that was good because I think in the book, like I said, it's a lot of math and it's a lot of because he's trying to go back in time using all of the different types of dating that was available. Like you mentioned, Methetho, and he uses him, but not to the extremes of like 900 years and stuff like that. But
Now,
so
I will. Let me just say this. I'm sorry to cut you
mhm.
1 second. A good book to get. Like I said, I'm not familiar with that author, so I can't have any opinion about what he said, and I don't want to pretend to. But a good book to get is Robin Walker's book. I forget. Oh, When We
So yeah,
Rule.
yeah. So actually, that's what made me get this book because the Robin Walker's book, what is the name when he names all of the kings? The
When
real
we
thick,
when we
super
ruled, when
when we
we
rule,
ruled.
yeah, yeah, the super thick book. So Robin Walker in his book uses that as a reference, and that's what made me purchase that book.
Okay,
That's
well
what's
there you
up.
go. So
Yeah,
so do you have Robin Walker's book yet?
yeah, I got Robin Walker.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah, yeah. Because in his book, he does a better analysis of the dating. And he gives a range, and obviously it's open for more investigation. But he has a different dating for the unification of Egypt. Because scholars
Right.
roughly, when you talk to the average person, they say 3100 BC Egypt started. But I think Robin Walker pushes it back a little bit further than that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's like I don't know, like
Yeah, he looks at
4,500.
the history. He looks at the. Pardon me, man. This is Brother Garfi, by the way. I don't mean to interrupt y'all. Peace and
Now go
love.
ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
Hey,
it's
Yeah,
open, man.
he
Open.
basically shows the history of them making the date to where it is today. Why they changed the dates and all that stuff. So he broke down the whole history of that. But he
Yeah,
goes back into like the 5,000s and all that stuff.
yeah, and that needs to be looked at though, because in light of Nubianology, today's growing field, as opposed to Egyptology, um, they're finding a lot of answers to those questions that were lingering, and that was avoided by early Egyptologists purposely.
Hmm.
That whole area that they call Nubia is shedding a lot of light on a lot of things in terms of the formation of Kemet and its residual state formations in Kerma, Kush, and way later you got Napata, Meroe, and all of that good stuff. So, but yeah, so hopefully, but yeah, if you don't mind, type the author and the name of the book in the chat for me,
What's the name
so
of
I
the
can
book,
look it up.
bro? What's the name of the book you said?
hold on 1 second, because like the way my phone is and whatever kind of zoomy thing I'm on is, I'm not even nowhere near YouTube.
Okay, well just say it. Just say it.
It's
I'll
called
pull it
yeah,
up.
it's called The Scheme of Egyptian Chronology by Duncan Mc McNaughton.
Let's see if it
D
comes up.
U N
Oh yeah,
C
there you
A
go.
N. You
Yep, I
got it.
got it.
All right.
Yep, McNaughton.
Now
Hey,
he also mentions another book in there, but I couldn't find it for the world. So it's one called The Scheme of
Wow,
Babylonian
1932.
Chronology. Yeah, yeah, it's
hey,
old.
1932.
well, Joe.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. I don't know if I caught you at the right time, but you was just talking about the whole thing that they talk about the Sothic cycle and the calendar and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
caught you at the end. What were you trying to say? Because I know that people use that to say that the chronology started like they used a 4200 BC date and connected because they was adding the 1460 years from like 139 BC or 139 AD and then go backwards and so forth.
Hmm.
So what was your conclusion to all of that?
Well, I was saying that the the Egyptians had what's called the Great Year of Ra, which
Hmm.
which was made up of 1,460 years, and that's the amount of years it took for their civil calendar to make one complete cycle um, through the Sothic calendar, the you know, and so that, I mean, that's what I was saying. So the Heliac horizon of Sopdet or Sirius marks their new year, and what they noticed that the civil calendar every 4 years it would go backwards one day against that calendar, and so they had two calendars in motion, and the scholars call one the civil calendar, another one is called the religious calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And so the civil calendar doesn't have anything to do with the seasons, the natural seasons. So that's why you see the season of Aket or the flood will mess around to be in the wintertime or the summertime is what we would say, and it's switch, and people get confused about that.
Yeah,
So
that was
the first calendar you see in Kemet though, what do you see on the record?
Um, well, it was the natural calendar based on what we call months, but lunar cycles. So from the disappearing of the moon, which we call new moon, because the new moon is really an invisible moon. So when the moon hides, and then it comes back, and then it hides again, that they count that as one lunar cycle, one month. And so that calculation, which they call a lunar calendar, was their early first ones, and that became the sidereal or the natural calendar. But scholars been calling it by different names, and it confused people. You got lunar calendar, lunar solar,
And a
Sothic calendar, sidereal calendar,
civil calendar, right?
and then a separate civil calendar. Civil calendar is different than the other ones I just said.
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you another book to get. It's called Egyptian Religious Calendar by
You gave me that book. I think you gave me that book years ago, or you told me to get it, and I got it. Yeah, I got it. I got the PDF. That's deep. That book is deep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
let
got
me
that. You told me
see
that
if I
3
can-
years ago, bro. I got that book.
Yeah, let me mention the author for everybody else. The author is Luigi Trapani, and it's available on Amazon. And every year, he publishes a new one, because he I mean the intro information stays the same, but he actually shows the calendars of what it would be today. And so every year he publishes a new one because the calendar shifts around. So it's really good to at least pick up one. So if y'all listening to me and y'all want to know about the Egyptian calendars, get that book. It's called Egyptian Religious Calendar by Luigi Trapani. As a matter of fact, I'll share it, put it on my screen.
Let me ask you this: do you think that the whole Sirius thing, where they talk about Sirius and the Sothic cycle and all that stuff, do you think that's the reason why people started talking about the Dogon and the Egyptian connection? Do you think that has a lot to do with it?
Yeah, I feel that's influenced it, because Sirius was very important to the Egyptians, like really, really, really important, because the Nile and its flooding was the lifeline of the people, and so Sirius is the signifier. When that rose right before the sun, the heliacal rising, that was everything. That was everything to the Egyptians. And then when you get the Dogon stories coming out of Sirius, the star and everything, then people, make that connection, which is, it's a valid curiosity to investigate. But I think that influenced the people looking into that direction. I'm gonna pull this up. As a matter of fact, this is the 2021. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the 20. It is. Okay, I just want to show you all the book. Okay, so that's the book that I'm talking about. Egyptian Religious Calendar, the Great Year of Ra 2022 is $32. So make sure you all pick that up. All right. I have nothing to do with this book, so I'm not a paid sponsor or anything. You know what I'm saying? So if you find mistakes, and all that stuff, I don't do that sweeping. Is it perfect or is it trash? Nah, it definitely has some good stuff in it. I definitely support people to get it. And I didn't get this version yet. Like I said, he come out every year. And if I hit look inside, just to show you how it's laid out, that's the preface. Yeah, Egyptian calendar. So it explains it. The civil calendar breaks it down. Aket Peret Shemu are the 3 seasons, and all that good stuff. So, so Garfield, if I told you 3 years ago, then that means you must have like the 2019 one, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same information. But I did notice in 1 year he updated the intro, so he kind of thickened it up. So I need to grab one. I think the latest one I have is the 2019 also. So yeah. But anyway. So what else is up? What else? Well, Sean, was that it for you?
Yeah, man, I'm about to check out. It's getting late for me. I got off work at 10 o'clock. But
Yeah,
before I
me too.
leave, though, I just wanted to say to Garfield, peace and love to you, brother. It's been a long time since I like talked to you personally or been on like a panel with you.
Oh,
So I just
okay. Peace to you,
yeah,
brother. Peace to
yeah,
you,
you too,
man.
you too. So yeah, I just wanted to holla.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right,
You,
gentlemen.
you
Hope
know,
tap
you
to
know,
you.
you know, you know,
You were
Sean. You
good.
know, I'm really the teacher. Uja was teacher in the background, right? You know that, right? Okay.
Yeah,
You know that, right?
Garfield's
All
the
right.
master
I just wanted to put that out there. That's all.
You wanted
That's
to
all.
put that out there,
I
make it
just want to put it
official.
out there. I'm tired of being in the background. I'm tired of not getting
Not
the
getting all the.
recognition.
I understand.
Yeah.
I
And
understand.
that
Getting your just due.
Egyptian language comes from Jamaica, by the way, just for the
I
record.
understand.
Just for the record.
Everything
Yes.
comes from Jamaica.
Exactly. I just want everybody to know that. I'm a Jamaica maniac. Okay.
That's what's up. That's what's
Yep.
All right, yo, look,
Hey,
gentlemen, y'all have a
I'm
good
gonna
evening.
jump off too, man. But thanks for
All
answering
right.
my question, big bro.
Yeah,
Nah,
Peace and
no
love.
problem.
thank you too. Thank you. Yeah, Jawa, I appreciate you answering my question as well.
Okay, no problem. Jamaica is really the word Jehudi Mika.
Ah,
Let me
See,
stop.
it all
See,
goes
Now,
back.
stop
let me
letting out
stop.
the secrets, bro. Stop letting out the secrets, man.
Let me
That's why
stop.
I don't
Somebody
like
go.
to talk in public. That's why I don't like
So,
to talk in public, man.
somebody gonna take a clip and be like, "Well, y'all pseudo is all outdoors."
Right. All right, y'all
All
have a
right,
good
peace
one.
though. Okay, you
Peace.
too. All right. Yeah. So all right. Let me check out the chat. I'm looking at the chat, and I have a bad habit of Let's see what's good. So as you all can see, the panel link works. Click the panel link. Y'all come in here, make your voice heard. But if you type it in the chat, I'll be able to see it there as well. If I like to say, oh no, Garfield's on the panel. Mika got her popcorn ready. Happy Valley Farms. The Senate just voted to pass a law to get rid of daylight savings time for good. On to the House now. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm gonna look into that. Yeah, daylight savings time. Yeah, that it's interesting when you look at why daylight savings time even started in this country and all that good stuff. It's interesting. It's something I looked into a long while ago. I forgot all the details, but I know they were considering energy consumption and people doing work and stuff, and they moved the clock back to have more daylight in working hours and all that kinds of stuff. So it's interesting. Be interesting if they get rid of it too. Let's see what else. Robin Walker. Okay, yeah, Jehudi said the book. That's the name of the book. Robin Walker dates the first dynasty at 5660. Yeah, see, I don't know if I haven't done enough work to agree or disagree with that. So I just tell people to get his work and examine it for themselves and see if he's made his case, see if he made a compelling argument and shown the data and evidence enough. Me myself, I haven't done the work enough to agree with that date or and stuff like that. So I have no idea. 5660, that's a big difference from what we hear normally. The normal date is 3100, 3200. They say, Pharaoh, they call him Pharaoh Aha or Pharaoh Mini or Pharaoh Namir is the unifying king, and they usually put the date at 3100 or 3200 BCE. And y'all need to know the difference between BC, BCE, and CE and AD. All right, one is like a religious perspective nomenclature, and the other one is not. That's basically it in a nutshell. Let's see. I'm going down the list, y'all. But shout out to everybody. Again, welcome to Kemet and Chill, late night Wednesday hump night. It's 11 o'clock now. It's your brother Wujao. We got Sonnet, MK. MK, you got any questions, comments?
Nah, not really. I'm just waiting for people to jump in on the panel instead of sitting on the chat. If you're in the chat, it's like you're actually standing at the bus stop while this night line already left. You're probably waiting for the slow bus. I don't know, but nah. The panel link is up there, and yeah, I just like to hear more. If people have more questions, because that kind of helps me learn things as well. Because this is broad field of study. So I might focus on a few things. And then it's nice to hear other discussions where I get to learn a little bit of, this and that. But, just waiting on people to come in on the panel. But while you're doing that, trying to find your way to the panel, I would like to once again thank Sen Sadiq for yesterday's him sharing the information, because that's what we want. We want to be up on the latest scholarship. And remember, if you didn't watch it, there's a link on that particular video's chat for that particular book. It's not going to be out yet until next month. So make sure that you get that. You'll get it for free right now. If you do you get the online PDF, but the book will be out on print next month. But I think that was really great, because even after that, I could still see a little bit of some discussions going on about, the things that were covered, but most people are really not sure, or don't keep themselves updated. But I like the fact that, we get to have that information that's like completely like hot from the kitchen, like, fresh. And that was like and then it validates everything that you guys have been saying. So please make sure that you watch yesterday's show, because that was fire. That's all I got to say. And yeah, jump on the panel.
Yeah, that was good. It's a book. So if you all missed it, just a short skinny of it is the brother Sadiq picked out some excerpts from this newly published book, and actually it'll be published in a week, but it's available online, which is weird. So it's available for free download online prior to it being published. So go get it. Maybe Emika, if you could post that link up. But it's called Ancient Egypt in its African Context, and it's by Cambridge Printing Press, or Cambridge University Press. And that publishing company also has a book called something with Egyptian ethnicity. I forget the name of it. I actually have the book, but yeah. So last night, Brother Sadiq pulled out some excerpts, and we just read it. So it was a show. For some of you all may say the show was boring or whatever, because we read. It's like an audio book show. We basically read quite a few pages out the book, which is very interesting because it's timely. It's based on the conversations we having. It touches on issues of the conversations we've been having about Egypt, ancient Egypt in its African context, and it just basically stressed the points that we've been making. But it's not heavy in evidence, though. That would be my critique of the book, just from me going through it. But it sets up the case. It outlines, it connects the dots on the claims and the problems with the claims that's been made previously. But in terms of being heavily laden with a lot of evidence and stuff like that, it could definitely use some more work on that. But anyway, you all, if Emiket posted, you all make sure you get it. Check out the show from yesterday. And yeah, support. Check the show, man. Like the show from yesterday, all the good stuff. I see Asar, shout out to Asar Motep. He said they moving the date up to like 2700 BCE. Yeah, I've seen that, So that's sooner or later it's gonna be like yesterday. Kemet Kemet was unified. Kemet was unified last week. 250 years ago, right before United States formed. They gonna be like, yeah, you know. Um, so yeah, I haven't like me myself. That haven't been an area of my focus to really get into the date debate. That's a whole nother debate. Like that's a serious debate going on too. The dating, because but I'm gonna tell you what I see motivates that is this um what do you call it, competition between Egypt and Mesopotamia though. Like that's what I feel that drives a lot of those discussions and debates. It's like who is older? Who was the first civilization? Was it Sumer or was it Egypt? Mesopotamia, which gives rise to biblical, theater and area, or was it Egypt? You know, I see a lot of that going on, but I haven't done any knowledge, so don't ask me about any dates, y'all. Sorry, what's going on? What's good?
Peace, peace. Peace to Sister Emmy Ket, and of course, everyone who is listening to the live program and stream. Um, yeah, I was, you know, just coming off a phone conversation, so I saw the live link. So just seeing what y'all talking about, and the I wanted to talk about uh, the dates. Like I agree wholeheartedly, and I want to kind of show a book that that kind of collaborates confirms what was just said in terms of what they're doing with the dating. And this is
Mm-hmm.
why it's important for me to stress why the importance of us going to school and learning these sciences and then getting involved in these conversations so that you have professionals who know how to critique the methods and to ask the right questions when it comes to stuff like this. Because if you allow me to share my
Yep.
screen,
All right, it's on the big screen.
so first and foremost, here's a book, Synchronized Chronology, Rethinking Middle East Antiquity, a revolutionary perspective on the Egyptian dynasties allows for correlation with biblical chronology and classical history, clearing up nagging discrepancies between the findings of archaeology and the assertions of history.
Wow.
Roger Henry, right? So you have whole text. So they assume that the biblical history is good, and that's the basis for which they start measuring things. And you see this even with this text here, Ancient Egyptian Chronology, which is edited by Eric Hornan,
Mm-hmm.
um, Rolf Cross, and David A. Warburton Brill. And so, just anything in this series is good to get regardless. And
Yeah,
I remember doing
HDO
this. I'm
definitely.
sorry.
No, I was just telling people anything put out the HDO series by
Yeah,
Brill, grab it. Even if you might not agree with everything, but it's they definitely provide some info.
exactly. And so this is an edited work. So there's different scholars. So they're trying to attack the ancient Egyptian chronology, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it is. Let me just go to the table of contents so you can kind of see what they're doing here. And
I saw I got that 1972 mouse. We heard that clicking. Brip, 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 brip. You
look,
got
this was in 2006. And I know what's his name, Dr. Takar, has, his analysis in one of his texts. But I
mm-hmm.
remember when he was just getting ready to write this, I sent this to him. And I'm like, you're going to have to consider when you're making your argument, you're going to have to reference this text and the like, because they're not they're not it's just not random like when in terms of their guessing. So they're going first in part one off of the Royal Annals, the Royal Canon, the King's List, Manetho, genealogy and chronology, dating methods, and the Egyptian calendar. So they deal with the methods there. Then relative chronology, pre-dynastic, early dynastic chronology, dynasty 0 to 2, dynasties 3. They go through all the kingdoms and let us know what is going on. So it's different authors. And then you have absolute chronology. So now this is when we start getting to the science stuff. Radiocarbon dating in Egyptian chronology, luminescence dating of Egyptian artifacts, dendrochronology, dates relating to seasonal phenomenon and miscellaneous astronomical dates, astronomy of the horizon, a tool for ancient Egyptian chronology, etc., etc. And then conclusions. And, y'all were talking about Sirius and Sothis, all
I
that,
hope just real quick. I hope the brother Sean that was just on the panel. I hope he's still listening because I definitely forgot to mention this book, but this is a must-have too, along with Robin Walker's. Between the two and the one you already got. So if you're still listening, make sure you grab this book.
Indeed. And Foundations of Day Exact Chronology, da da da. So right, and then you get the author's conclusion. So this is the timeline in which he concluded. So again, when you read the text, they're always basing the Egyptian chronology off of some phenomenon dealing with the Middle East and the Levant. And what I don't recall from my first reading of this text was that there was any sense that the dates in the Middle East and Mesopotamia were not exactly right and exact. They always assumed that the Egyptian was off and that they needed to correct it. And that's problematic because they keep reducing the dates, trying to make it to where Mesopotamia is older. So like you hear here, so the earlier ones you mentioned like 3100, 3200. Now to here, this 2900 to 25 for 45 for the early dynastic period. So the dynastic period, Dynasty 1 is 2900, 2730, et cetera, down to Dynasty 2, 2730 BCE, and stuff like this. And if you don't have a background in the chronological, know how they are coming up with these dates and don't know the right questions to ask and the assumptions that they're making, you won't have a viable counter if a counter is in fact needed.
Right.
But so this is 2900. You've already just because 300 years is significant.
Yeah.
From the 3200 BCE date. And so if you make it 2900 to 2545, but you don't question Sumerian origins in terms of times. You don't question the other Mesopotamian. You just keep those as is, but you keep questioning ancient Egypt. It's problematic on many fronts. But I just wanted to show this text.
No, that's good because I totally forgot to mention that one because I went through it. I remember you, Sanjetti, and I. We spoke on this text right here, and anyone who is going to write anything on chronology is definitely going to have to do a critique of that text right there that you just showed. And so I think that's what you were hinting to when you said the Kilimanjaro, because anybody doing a chronology on ancient Egypt is going to have to contend with that text right there.
Exactly, and even when I know people are recommending Robin Walker, but I don't have the second edition of his book, but I have the first edition. And it's not based on, people are going to automatically side with this text because of all of the scientific tools that were used in it, and so they're automatically just going to trust the dendrochronology and all this other kind of stuff. And Robin Walker's just kind of going off of, testimony, right? And so he's going with the quote unquote long calendar in his text, but it's not going to appear as rigorous as this text that we mentioned earlier. And so I don't know how, because I don't believe I have the text in which Taka speaks on the calendar, but so I don't know to what extent that he came to his conclusion, but this is just something that you have to contend with.
I also think as an author by the name of Strudwick, forgot the first name, who did a book on something similar. And then you have another set of books, and I see them in my head, but I forget the author's name, but it's on the science, mathematics, and calendars of ancient Egypt, where it kind of touched on chronology a little bit. So all of those different books will have to be consulted if anybody's going to try to dig in, see, examine that to the extent where I speak on it. I don't even speak on the dates. I'm like, that was a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I in terms of the arguments I see though, that's not my cup of tea, because really people that I see bring it up only to try to say, okay, Sumer was first or Egypt was first. And I'm like, okay, let's say Sumer was first, now what? Or let's say Egypt was first, now what? It's like, okay, where do you go from there? So I'm like, all right, until y'all get past that, then I'll probably look at it. That's me personally. The 3100, 3200. Now, when they date these hard archaeological artifacts, material culture, I definitely pay attention to that. For like the Siali seal and the crystal incense burner that has the name Tasseti written on it, has the hedged white crown, and you got the pottery shard of the red crown, Deshret crown, and this and that. Like, that is notable. You definitely need to, we need to stick that in our heads, because that predates all those dates that you just showed. But then you got to know how do they date those things as well. So
so that's an important thing to read in those chapters, because they're looking at some wood and reek. See, what was frustrating me reading it is that they kept recalibrating Egyptian dates to some like wooden artifact in Mesopotamia, and then just basing it on, well, it must coincide with this. Like, it couldn't just be like, they couldn't date ancient Egypt on its own. It had to be relative to Mesopotamia and not anything else going on in Inner Africa. Like, they didn't, it's not a holistic, and I just haven't had time to go back in and analyze it very deeply. But that was my first, I remember feeling that when I was initially reading it.
Yeah, that's what they all do, all in the biblical context. It's like they go into a room called biblical and open up everything else they want to study it from the biblical perspective, biblical context, biblical archaeology, the Oriental Institute of Biblical Archaeology, all these different things.
Exactly. So that's why you understand, like, with the Martin Delaney Center for Egyptology, why it's Nile River orientation, Nile River studies, not Middle Eastern studies, or Near Eastern studies, whatever the hell that means.
Near Eastern, but that's good, because the last night's show, the book that we just read an excerpt from, basically about how Inner Africa was not consulted for years, and so that's what's driving the conversations now, because the pile of scholarship is really a pile of scholarship in absence of the voice of Inner Africa. And we know that, but we get called Afrocentricity and Afrocentrists, and then now people use pejoratively like Hotepers and this and that. So it's like we can't win for losing. So, um, by wanting to give Inner Africa its own voice, it does have something to say.
Mhm.
And so anyway, um, the scholar. So we talked about that last night a little bit, but there's a lot. I mean, there's people, there's videos that's just busting up. And you know what's crazy is Egyptology was born in I think 1832, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and you have your Lepsius, you have your well, you have Champollion, and then your Lepsius, your Reisners, your Breastids, and stuff like that. And um, so that has tenure. But now in a more newer field of Nubianology, the Nubianologists who are focused on Sudan right now, what they call Nubia and everything, they're like blowing the whistle on the Egyptologists because they feel slighted and sunned, because they're the lesser. They're the lesser of between the two, and so they're like, nah, like this stuff was here all along, and you purposely ignored it. That's the sentiment you get from these Nubianologists who have their voice heard in lectures and books. They basically reversing this stuff, and so it's a trip. So we can benefit from that kind of inner battle that they're having, with information, because they're like, nope, this was here the whole time. This hey, Kustul, why didn't y'all talk about Kustul? Why when you saw it you thought one thing and then you put it hush hush? Basically it's like, you put it to the side. You put this to the side. Why is that? Why didn't you explain that? But you want to explain some scarab beetle rings in the Middle East, but you don't want to explain this daggone Desheret crown way down in the southern Egypt. How did the Desheret crown be found? Its earliest finding is in Upper Egypt, but it's the symbol for Lower Egypt, in way up in the Delta. That has to be explained and reconciled, but they don't attempt to do that. Stuff like that. And the name Tasseti, how come Tasseti is mentioned, as far back as pre-dynastic times, 3300 BCE? What's up with that?
Pre-dynastic is 2900 BCE according to this text. I'm telling you, they're gonna give it 5 years. Egypt started at 1500 BCE at the time of Moses.
Yeah, you right. Watch, you right. That's what I'm saying. I say give it 10 years. It's going. Egypt just fell. Egypt just fell at the transatlantic slave trade. So 1600 AD
lived at the time of Reagan.
Yep. Yep, that's it. That's what they're gonna say. That's definitely what they're gonna say. Anwar Sadat was the last Egyptian pharaoh. That's what they're gonna say. Anwar Sadat was the 32nd dynasty. Watch, they're gonna do that. I don't have a doubt about it. That's what they do. But like you said, people jump into it and stop treating it like a hobby and a joke. That's what kills me, though. People treat Egypt in these conversations like it's a slouch topic. And they totally disrespect the study. And I don't see people doing the same thing to chemistry, to astrophysics, quantum mechanics, engineering issues. I don't see people like treating it the same way.
Unless you're Christian and anti-evolutionist, then
yeah, I mean that's true. But even them, they respect it enough to try to sound heavy and I mean to defend something. Egypt just is bad. I mean, the topic of anything regarding Egypt, people feel like all they gotta do is just wake up unprepared and just go live and Google. Pure, what do you call it in movies, where you don't have a script? Improv. Straight up improv. Just go live. Improv. Yep. Whatever so and so says, I'm gonna find somebody to agree with me that disagree with them, and that's it. That's what they do. They
basically.
Google a keyword. If you say the Egyptians original the Egyptians call themselves the Remage, they're gonna find somebody that says nope. And see, it's not the Remage, it's Reth. RETH. Reef.
Speaking of, and this is kind of an open private discussion, but I tagged you in the personal group to a document, um, which is my appendix C for the upcoming Kemet book, and there's an entry there. So what I've done in the appendix is I have garnered a number of uh, Kim entries from various dictionaries and other
Mm-hmm.
sources, and compiled them into that one appendix. And then in the third part of the section, there is, or is it technically my second part of the section? But um, there are personal name entries, right? And then there's this
Mm-hmm.
one personal name where it is, and so the personal name entries have Kim in it. So the purpose being to see if we can analyze and see a pattern in how the word Kim, or how the consonant sequence Kim is used in personal names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's one variation that is written, with the, I believe it's the bowl, the owl, and then something else. And but it's in the entries, it's different forms of the same name. And so you see the second form without the M
Mm-hmm.
in the personal name, but it's still supposed to represent Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so this notion of leaving the M out
Was argued.
in in between these two consonants seems to go beyond just the Remetch example.
Mm-hmm.
And so and these are all names from the Middle Kingdom. I'm trying to find it now.
I do know that well, just in general, it may not be specific to this, but I know in general, common words, and I think statistics was done on it. I need to find that document. But words that had bird signs within the word, statistically, what gave the scribes problems in terms of depending on where, if it was in a column or a row, and they would omit them to the point where it became just an omission of certain glyphs and words, or abbreviated forms. I see. I'm gonna put your screen. You got your screen shared. All right, so it's on the big screen now.
Yeah, so you see, um, that's one name. And so this form here with the ready, giving, and sometimes it's just reduced here, and then the Kim, and then you just see it like this.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all the same name and the same person. So they don't put the bird in the center in this
Yeah.
variation of this female name.
Now, what I would not knowing, where you got that from or anything like that. My first question would be is to look at what's surrounding those glyphs in
Yeah,
terms of why the bird glyph will be omitted, because I know just from my observations in other words, not specifically this, but
so here's another
depend
fuller form. I'm sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
depending on, no, I'm just saying depending on where it was written and what's next to it and stuff. Did they have room? Is it a column? Is it a row? Was there other glyphs to the right and left of it that may have caused that? I mean, that would be something I would definitely take into account and keep track of at the same time. Cause I definitely
Yeah.
noticed that in other words.
Oh, and
Um,
I saw like this variation here is interesting to me. So this is a name. Where does it begin? So it begins here, Kemet, and they assume the dark one, right?
hmm
So rarely do you see the word Kemet black actually spelled out uh, with the monoliteral glyphs, um, but except in the personal names. But it's hard with the personal names because they normally don't have the classifiers.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. That's what makes it all the much harder. Yep.
But when, like, for example, in this name, when we do get classifiers, like, of course, the egg is normally a symbol that is a woman or feminine, but then you have this one here, and there's like two other ones I think that have this here. But this is the glyph that's used for food. Like, there's a word kemet that means food.
Yep. Jafau, which is food. Yep.
You
Offering
know
and food.
exactly. So can you interpret her name to mean the dark one? Like, would that
Mm.
make sense with these glyphs? Like, they're
So is
they're
that the
like,
same person? Is that
yeah.
enough
So
of
all of
variation?
these are
Same person?
different variations of the same name. So it'll even say those here's multiple attestations of the same persons,
Yeah. Well, that
right?
that that puts a monkey wrench right there because there's no way. Why would like you said? Because that's the Jafau glyph for offering or food.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they call it, an abundant sustenance. So
Exactly.
that can't be that, and we know how classifiers, signifiers, or determinatives operate. So
Exactly. And it's another one I'm trying to find that it here we go. So this is Kimu. Let me see. Well, that's a different one. The blind one. They don't have a name. Excuse me, because a lot of the entries they don't define it, right? So these are supposed to be variations.
of
So
them.
I'm wondering if they're just keeping so like this is Kimu. So we know that this by itself means mu. So is it a determinative, or is it supposed to be like a compliment,
Well, if that
or
quail
is there
chick is
some I
if
know
that
I'm
quail
sorry,
chick
go ahead.
is well, that's just weird because if that quail chick is after that, then the first thought is that it must be a consolidation of two words
Exactly.
because you know
But it's what they're saying is that this is a another instance of multiple attestations of the same person. So that it's just written. So this is one of those cases that we would have to go into the primary and the primaries and see what is going on. So they're all listed here, but this glyph here, the D3, is normally used for behind the Kim glyph, the I6 glyph used to mean the color black unto itself. However, the hieroglyph also symbolizes water
mhm.
in the Egyptian hieroglyphs. And so I'm wondering, like, if there's any kind of connection to the water, and that's why that's there, outside of, because I mean, again, it's just weird and funny how and these are all Middle Kingdom, so it's not New Kingdom, late period. All of these names are Middle Kingdom names
Mhm.
at the latest Second Intermediate period for some of the entries. So this is 12th dynasty, early 13th. So is this a separate word, or is this supposed to be like a compliment?
Yeah. Well, the way that one right there is spelled, is that those triple water ripples are not acting like a determinative.
Exactly.
So
But
yeah,
here
we
it
would have to.
looks like it's a determinative, but at the same time, because it's moved by itself. But the way that they have the entry is Kim dot like this form.
Yeah.
So this is pretty standard and simple. But if we come to these forms, then it looks totally different, and this gets a little bit confusing.
Yep. There'd be no
Anyway,
need to do that. But yeah, nah. But I see you
I
got
tagged you.
the attestations there. Yeah, definitely check out the primaries and read. We're gonna do the Hebrew read. So yeah, nah, that's interesting. So yeah, you tagged me. Yeah, I gotta look into that for sure. What's up? What's going on, Zane? See, Zane is on the. Zane, you on third shift? You home? You got your good mic?
No, I'm at the house. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yep, we can hear you. Yep. All right. Got rid of Cricket Wireless. All right, good, man. Good for
You got
you.
me a click. Restream kind of like.
Man, I spoke too soon. Listen, for the listening audience, I'm telling y'all, listen, I'm gonna take a donation to get Zane some Elon Musk satellite internet. Zane, I don't, man, it never fails. It never fails. Every time you come on, every time, like you, Zane, you must live in the boonies. Like you live in like a internet, what they call it, internet desert. You have to. I don't know what it is. I was just joking, but he made the joke funny, man. Zane sound like he's underwater.
Nah, I mean, I'm at home.
Oh, there you go. Hey, right now, whatever. Hey, listen, whatever you did, yes, whatever you did. If you got your hand on a metal pole or something, keep it there. You know, you remember back in the day we had to hold the antenna on the TV, or put aluminum foil. You got to put aluminum foil around your phone
Man,
or
I don't know
something.
what it is. Yeah, I don't know
Nah,
that.
no, listen. What?
Y'all sounded real bad.
No, what? Okay,
I don't
whatever
know.
you got right there, memorize. Nope, whatever you got going on right there, memorize it. That is the setting. Save that setting. Cause I can hear you loud and clear right now. So what's up? What you got? What you got for us? I'm letting the chat. I'm letting everybody else drive the conversation, man. I'm willing to go wherever everybody else is willing to go. I see the chat. Hey, Fire Lightentist. I hope you got my comment. Let me just reiterate my comment. I was what I was saying was in antiquity, when it comes to professions and jobs, the further back in time you go, you'll find that whole family lines used to do the same or similar jobs, and even even in the United States, early history here, we see that, we still see it today a little bit where the son will be, if the father is a doctor, the son will likely be a doctor, or will likely be, an business exec or a lawyer or a police officer and things like that. Well, in antiquity, that was definitely the mode of operation, where you have whole tribes that will be known for a particular area of skill, and I believe the example that always comes up is the Kalenjin people in Kenya. They are known to be like a warrior class, just like that kind of stigma is put on them as being a warrior class, stemming from Egypt, similar to how the Magi, and the Magi, that very word Magi, got associated with being a bodyguard, or guardian, bodyguard, police. and they were hired to guard the valley of what we call the Valley of the Kings now today, from tomb robbing, tomb raiding. They were solicited into the army to fight, defend, vanguards of Kemet. So anyway, hopefully you get that point, and that connects to how people were trained. So basically it's kind of like a family thing, family lineage thing. And if we look into it, we could kind of see why. What else? I'm just going down the list, y'all. Asan Wajau, can you elaborate on Upper Egypt's influence over Butu, Mahdi culture and people? Okay, well, real quick off the top of my head, so people will know what you're talking about. Butu was a popular and known populated settlement in Lower Kemet, dating back in its Genesis time, so pre-dynastic, early dynastic period. And then the Mahdi culture is roughly known to be an archaeological study of the culture contemporary with the Nakada culture, but it was a little north of the Nakada area of excavation, where Nakada is like near Thebes, closer to Thebes, and the Mahdi culture area was closer, I guess, closer to Cairo, where Cairo would be right now, but south of Cairo, but in that direction. All right, so just so people know what you're bringing up, and so the influence, you said Upper Egypt's influence, the very fact that Egypt unified, and the unification and the administrative movement came from a southward movement going north or downstream, then the influence should be obvious, because they all unified. And in fact, let me show you this. Man, I had it on the screen before. Y'all just have to know that I have presentation files that have like 300, 200, one has 600 slides. So y'all got to forgive me if I might not be able to pull up something as fast as I would like to, but I have it now. Don't count me out. But give me a second. So, okay, here we go. Let me find this. What I'm looking for, I'm going to show you in a tomb where the place you're talking about is mentioned, and it's the tomb of Horemheb. As soon as I find it, y'all will see it. Nope. And I don't like that awkward mode of silence, so I'm gonna still run my mouth while I'm looking. Multitask. I can't see the chat while I'm looking for this, so y'all bear with me. Man, I know I have it somewhere. It's the tomb of Horemheb, and I just showed it the other night. Nope. Thought I had it right there. Oh, it's coming up. I know I'm getting close. Getting warm. I can feel it. And I guess not. All right, I know exactly where it is. It's in my presentation on Kemetic yoga. Anyway, so maybe somebody else can while I look for this. Give me a second, y'all. Kemetic yoga.
Okay, while you're doing that, I was just Sandoni was asking a question about this particular glyph that was showing on that Smash Rockwell showed today. That was the Q7H with the flame and what is it called, and the head combined. And I was just letting him know that there's some glyphs that you can't really find the transliteration for, and these glyphs, you probably could read more about it, and there's some people written about cryptography or whatever it is that concerns the hieroglyphs. Some of the hieroglyphs that were used, especially towards the New Kingdom era, where they just went crazy with extra glyphs here and there, additions of extra glyphs into the repertoire of that writing system. But yeah, it's not all glyphs that you can find transliterations for. Just wanted to let you know that, and I'll probably try to look into what books you can read concerning those kind of glyphs.
All right. So, all right, now look what y'all making me do now. Y'all are making me pull out my Kemetic yoga presentation that people got mad at me about. All right. I was showing, y'all have to definitely check out that video. It's in our archives. I did a whole video on the validity of the Kemetic yoga poses, not the practice. The practice is a beautiful practice and very beneficial. I always put that disclaimer out there. But the claim that these Kemetic yoga practitioners make online is that these positions that they put themselves in are positions that the ancient Egyptians themselves did, as if they were doing yoga in ancient Egypt and using those positions to perform yoga in ancient Egypt. That is absolutely false, and it's not true. It's incorrect. All right? And so I did a whole presentation explaining why that's false and what it really is. Like when you look at this scene right here that you're looking at, these three figures are not in that pose literally, like you see the elder gentleman on the top right. The elder gentleman on the top right, he's simply mimicking an artistic style that the Egyptians did, but they're not really posing like that. And anyway, I go through all of that in that video, and if y'all would like me to revisit that, let me know. But check out the archive. I mean, that's why I did the video, so I wouldn't have to keep repeating myself. So definitely check out the video. Maybe if MBK, if you could find that video and post the link, that would be great. So, but anyway, the reason why I pulled this up is your question, the question I had on the screen. I don't know what happened to the question, but the question on the screen. So I'm just showing you Butu. So I'm giving you all a place where Butu is mentioned. So let me grab this picture and make it blank because I need to use this. All right, so this picture right here, as y'all can see, hopefully y'all can see that. Can y'all see that? Yeah, y'all should be able to see it. So this picture right here is a picture from the tomb of, I said Horemheb. I misspoke earlier. This is not Horemheb. Who can tell me? Well, I don't know what waste time and ask y'all. But this is the tomb of Ramesses. All right. I said Horemheb earlier, and that was misspoke. We see his name here, and see, this is the benefit of reading the glyphs. See, you can even correct yourself by reading the glyphs. But his name is right here. You got Ramessu. All right. Ra-Messu, and this is Menpeti Ra. So this would be Ramses the First, I believe. And but anyway, long story short, you see up here in column one, column number 1, you see, let me put my arrow on the other side. So you see the phrase or the words Jed Medew in Ba'u P. Okay, this is the word P. This is a place. This is Butu. Butu was also known as P in ancient Egyptian. So Jed Medew in Ba'u P, which means words spoken by the souls of Butu. And remember, the other night I said we got to keep in mind that the word Ba'u or souls is used in Egyptian text sometimes for a community of people, not spooky souls like ghosts, Casper the Friendly Ghost type stuff. All right. So that's in column 1. You see the word Butu, or P, which would be the same as Butu. And they're saying words spoken by the souls of P, and you have the word Heni, and the word Heni is the word for jubilation, to jubilate, jubilation, and that's what these three figures are doing. They're actually in a position of jubilation, and jubilation was performed for a specific reason, and I go into that when I did this video, so y'all check that out. And then the other place right here, you see in column 7, Jed Medew in Ba'u Nekhen. So these were prominent pre-dynastic cities, Butu or P and Nekhen. All right, so just so y'all know, and they're doing Henu as well, jubilation. So you see the word Henu, see the word Heni, Heni. All right, so that's that. But hopefully I answered your question though. But yeah, they were influenced because the movement of what we come to know and love about ancient Egypt, that cultural expression had its genesis in the south and moved its way north. All right, so that's that. James, we got Zane came back in, popped back in. Peace to you, James. What you got for us?
Dang, I saw it and burnt off. But anyway, I was going, so I had both of you guys on, and Emmy Cat as well. I wanted to propose something that I had observed, and just to get you guys now, what I do is I listen to you guys, and then I try to simplify stuff to where I can understand it, or for people that are not as experienced as you guys can understand it, because you know what I mean. So to not make
Yeah.
things more as difficult as possible with this new argument that we have, seems like that some people are trying to take Kemet out of the sub-Saharan group. And I know sometimes you say stuff is kind of seems confusing. So what I want to do, I want to share my screen, and I wonder how do you do this?
Yeah,
Because
if you
this is a different. This is a different type of platform. Okay.
yeah, it's the third button. You got a mic, then the camera, and then that third circle should be share your screen.
Okay, I see that. But I don't know because it doesn't show actually. I was trying to show that map that you showed. Maybe you could pull that map up. Oh wait,
Oh, which
here it
one?
is right here. When you click on it, then it shows over here. Hold on, this map right here. You see that?
Okay, let me put it on the big screen so everybody can see what you are showing. Let me move this comment. Okay, yeah, we can see it. Yeah, that's the Wujao map right there. That's what
Okay,
people
word.
people
Yeah,
call
this is
it.
where I got them. This is where I started peeping this out at, right? So one day you was talking, and then you showed us that it had Lower Egypt up here, right?
Yeah,
And then you went down to Upper Kemet right here, right?
yeah,
But then it shows Lower Nubia here, right?
yeah,
Now
yep.
I'm gonna ask you, where is Upper Nubia?
It's that's a funny because I said the same question. I said they don't
Okay,
even.
but check this. Let me tell you what my what I'm gonna suggest or say here, right? So
Uh,
we all know that at Aswan, right off in this region, is the nucleus of of both civilizations, right?
yeah, well, it's further
Wouldn't you say
down,
this is
but
where? Okay,
no,
well,
you gotta go
where
down.
does this? Where
Go
does the civil? Okay, wait. Did it start at Edfu,
see what I said. See what I said. First
or
cataract right
does
there.
it start? Where is? I don't see that, John. Where you see first cataract at?
Nah, scroll back
Okay,
down.
one,
Nah,
two, seven. Okay, right here. Where
go down. Number one.
Co,
Come on, but right
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 here
below
where
that,
Combo
right
is.
where you say fillet, where it says
Okay,
what?
that's Aswan there.
Yeah, there you go. Aswan
Okay,
Elephantine. Yep.
so so this is the nucleus of the civilization, right? Would that be fair, or somewhere around in this area? Would this be? You see how? Can you see my mouse going around like this?
Yeah, I think it would be fair to say that the first cataract, aka waterfall, would be roughly the nucleus of the people both up and down where the genesis of Egypt. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now and this is also where they split the borders for Nubia and Egypt or Kemet, right?
Yeah.
So what
Yep.
I suppose is if this is Upper Egypt, it's also Upper Nubia, and then it expands out And maybe this may be a high point. I'm not sure. Maybe you could tell me. But and then this is Lower Nubia. This is Upper Kemet, and also Upper. I don't know what you would want to call it, Nubia. Just
Well,
just
you
for
know, I don't
just for argument's sake, Upper Kemet and
just for
Upper Nubia.
conversation's sake. Okay, I'm gonna allow the word Nubian. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Yeah. So this is a Tassetti or however you want to. And see, then this is lower, this is upper, and then the nucleus of both civilizations starts over here. So this would be Upper Nubia and Upper Egypt. That's what I'm saying
Okay.
because it splits right here, and then it disperses outward, right?
Okay. Let
Because
me
you don't have an upper, you don't have, and we all know that they hadn't went this far off into the interior of Africa at that time. So I would just subsupposing that just because it seems like that made sense.
All right. So so stay. Keep your thoughts right there. Let me share my screen just so I could
Okay, let me unshare mine.
just so I can what you
Why
call it.
am I still seeing
Uh,
my screen?
nah, you should. Oh,
I
you
think I
probably
might
seeing it
have
just
bun-
yourself.
I
That's
might
just
have
yourself.
fumbled that. I'm not sure if I explained that clear as I wanted to.
All right. So can you see my screen? I'm sharing mine now. Same app. Same app. Can you
Uh,
see my? You probably gotta shrink your. You probably made
okay,
your screen
okay,
full
bam,
size.
okay, bam, bam. Okay, I see it now.
Okay. All right. So let me do this. Um. Where am I at over here? Goodness gracious. All right. Here we go. So okay, this is the same map, and I don't want to mess up my nice little diagrams and stuff. So let me just reproduce this real
Yeah, I
quick.
like how you got have that right there where you put the line there.
All right, I'm gonna make it again, but I want to make it big so everyone can see. All right, so this is the okay, this is the issue. So first, let me just explain something real quick. The only reason why Lower Egypt is called Lower Egypt is due to um
The
altitude.
being in the lowland. You said that I heard that being in the
Yeah,
lowland.
it has to do with altitude. So
Hmm.
anything at sea level is considered low, and anything that starts to raise in altitude is up, is higher. It's in the mountains or start going into the hills and mountains. And so
Hmm.
as you travel, like everyone knows that the Nile starts in way down beyond this map. It starts way down in I think the blue Nile starts somewhere else, and the white Nile, and it comes together at Khartoum, and then it forms the the main body of the Nile. But it comes from mountain areas. And but anyway, so to say Lower Nubia, when scholars do this, Lower Nubia, all they're doing is trying to keep up with the naming conventions of Upper and Lower Egypt. So Upper Nubia would be further down here off the map. That's basically what where it would be if this map had extended down some more. It wouldn't be above Lower Nubia, because Upper is always down on the map, just like
Yeah, but
Upper.
okay, but what if that is so? Just say if the map is correct, and they're saying that that's a lowland past the high point. See what I'm saying? Because that's what is that's kind of because but you also have to think about the nucleus of both of those civilizations if they're to start there. So if you're saying that it's an Upper Nubia down here, is
Yeah,
that is
only
it a map that
on
shows that or something? Or are you saying it's not
no, like really what I'm saying is that we should ignore
all of
the
this?
the the well the label Lower Nubia, because the only reason why they put that there was to try to keep with the naming conventions that they used for Upper and Lower Egypt. So if I shrink this, let me shrink it back down. I don't have to move it around so much. Um, you have Lower Egypt and then Upper Egypt. So Lower is on top of Upper.
Hmm.
So if you have Lower Nubia, then Upper Nubia should be down here, down here somewhere, because Lower is on top of Upper. Because
Yeah, but that's only if you're going with that model. That's what I was saying. I was talking about thinking outside of the box because where would do we have an origins for Upper Nubia besides at that same area that we were talking about where we get all of the documentation for the civilization, which is
yeah,
Aswan. See,
well, but see,
is that
it's
is that the origins of Nubian civilization as well?
no, it's completely made up. Like like
Okay.
like the label of Lower Nubia is strictly somebody just made that up and put that on this map right here, just to just so people could make sense of it to stay in naming conventions with Upper and Lower Egypt.
Okay, I get
Because
that, Wujao. But what
yeah,
I'm
you know what I'm
asking
saying.
here, just to
Mm,
be clear, right? What I'm asking.
mm.
So where did they say is? Let me do it like this. Where do they say the Nubian A group is at?
The Nubian A group on this
Where
map,
where the first evidence of the Nubian A group that they're
yeah.
using?
Okay, we
Is
got a
it down
maps.
here in lower and upper Nubia, or is it
Well,
right there? Is it right there, kind of close to where Upper Nubia is, Upper Egypt is? That's what I'm
well,
asking.
let's find out. Let's just get a city. So A group culture is um between the first and second cataract.
Okay.
So let me get my cursor back over here. So between the first and second cataract would be, let me get my trusty arrow. That would be the first cataract is right here,
Uh huh.
and the second cataract is right there. So in this area, what they're calling Lower Nubia is where the A group culture thrived, right in this
Right.
area, the same area, and that's where Kustul is. You know, Kustul is right around Buhin, right around
Right.
here. And Kustul is where we could find the earliest attestation of the name Taseti and the
Okay.
Hejit
Let me
crown.
let me put another question there.
Okay.
Okay. So where is Nakata one and Nakata two? What are their areas?
Okay, so let's move it. Oh, my arrows didn't move it.
It's not in the
Nakat
same area.
No, Nakata's right here. Nakata's
Okay.
right
Nakata.
there. So hold on, let me shrink this so you can see the proximity of each one. Let me make this smaller. So Nakata is right there. And let me change that to red. And the second cataract is right there. So
Right.
and on my map, see, this is why I did this, because
Okay.
um let me just copy this so people could see it. I put it on here. So if I were to shrink this now, so people could see it. So from Nakata down to here is this area about right here. So this overlapping area is the general area, but actually extends down some. Is the general area of the genesis of the Egyptian civilization that we come to know and love.
Okay. Now this board, where is the Egyptian border at now? It's up
Now,
higher, right?
hold on,
Yeah.
let me
As
okay.
opposed to where that first line you had at before. You had a line
Okay.
where you were showing something.
Nope. The Egyptian border right now today is right where that green arrow is. Right here.
Mm. So you saying that so the nucleus of both civilizations align right off in that area.
Yep. Yep. Right
So
around
does
Kustul.
so watch this. So like an explosion, if something hits, it disperses outward, right? It doesn't
Yep.
start down south. You can't do that. That's what I'm saying. If you're saying that both, if this is the nucleus of the civilization, it disperses outward, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. And so what we have to understand now, we have to introduce social evolution taking place over time, because the way I explain it is, let me move these arrows out the way. So I'll leave those there. So what happens is, right in this area, before Egypt was worth mentioning, Egypt
Mm-hmm.
doesn't exist yet. You got different clans and communities of people living along the river in this area. At some point in time, the people started to unify for whatever the reason is. They started to unify and start forming some kind of larger and larger structures. And what happened is, and it's in this area, but then they started going downstream, because we forget that this is a river that's flowing, downstream. So they started to go downstream, which is in a northward movement. And so what happened is, the cataracts themselves, or waterfalls, it prevented the people getting word or coming into this movement that was driving and moving in a northward direction or downstream. And so these people stayed here while this group of people decided to make their movement going up. And eventually the people down here simultaneously started to have state formation as well, but not as rigorous and as much as Egypt did.
Okay,
So
you know
so
what I
that
want to
that
ask
that
now?
that that later became, became what we know as Egypt. Yeah,
Okay,
go
now
ahead.
where is the flooded areas on this map that the 400 miles that they flooded out? Where that's at?
Okay, that is between the first cataract and the second cataract, like basically that same area.
See what I'm
That
saying, Mujahid? They flooded out the whole damn civil. We'll never be able to
that would
know.
be that would be right here along the Nile. This narrow spot right here. If I
It
was able to
starts
curve
at
that,
Abu Simbel and goes up to Aswan.
yeah,
So that would be the area.
right where I'm at. If I were to blow it up, y'all would be able to see it. Matter of fact, let me just blow
So
it up
that's
so y'all can see.
400. That's 400 miles of flooding that they did,
So wait
and
a minute,
that's what.
right from here to Abu Simbel. So if I stretch this out, just so y'all can see how high it goes, but it's only along the Nile. So this right here is now Lake Nasir or Nasir.
Hmm.
It's
And
a lake here
on the
now.
Nubian side, it's Lake Nubia. On the
Yeah, let's
Nubian
let's
side of it, it's Lake
let's.
Nubia.
Oh, it is okay.
Hmm.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. That's the point. They flooded this whole area out by
On
building
the
the
Nubian
dam.
side, on the Nubian side of the dam,
By
or
building the
is
dam.
that still, or is that still Egypt, where it goes? Is that the Nubian side of the dam? But they can't flood Sudan's territory, can they?
No, it didn't.
Or
No, what
did
I'm
they?
saying.
Yeah,
No,
they
what I'm
did.
saying.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah, I mean, remember the river flows in a northward direction. So if you build a dam here, it's going to collect behind it,
yeah,
not in front
backwards.
of it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, not in front of it. Yeah, so you're right. That's they flooded that. They flooded that
Right.
area.
So the origins of the civilization has been basically flooded on the Nubian side, to where you can't go back and excavate really like you want to. So see, people don't
Yep.
understand the war that we're dealing with. This is a war that's so sinister that our people, they seem like they're taking it as this is some type of a joke. But this fight starts with Diop, and then our people don't understand um, what it took for us to get to that point. Because we're coming through chattel slavery, we're coming through having to re-educate ourselves, we're coming to have to go through these universities to collect our history. So it's kind of disturbing to me, Wujaro, the stuff that I be hearing, because this ain't no joke to certain people.
No, and well, you can imagine how frustrating it is for me to hear this stuff for 10 years and get nowhere. That's why I
Right.
don't entertain it anymore because I'm just looking for people who get it, the basics, so we could build. Because the conversation is to me deteriorated because
Right.
um it's very simple. It's very simple to understand. The Egypt that we know, the ancient Egyptian culture and civilization that we know has its genesis in an area that's that is superficially called Nubia. There is no such place as Nubia. No
Right.
country called Nubia, no nothing. Just like there's no country called Middle East. Middle East is a region. And these are valid terms. We name regions like we say um, the Midwest of the United States. Like where you live at? I'm out here in the Midwest. Well, the Midwest is not a state, but we know it's a region of the country. So the region of Eastern Africa is called Nubia, which happens to overlap southern Egypt today and northern Sudan today. So North Sudan and southern Egypt is that region. And so the people who live there in that region are rightfully called Nubians regionally, like but that's their region name. But their national name or their nationality and citizenship or whatever, you got either Egyptians or Sudanese. So you got some people who can be Nubian Egyptians and you got Nubian Sudanese. Right now today, if you look it up, you got Nubians who are both Sudanese. I mean, you got Sudanese Nubians and you got Egyptian Nubians.
Yes, I'm aware because once they displaced over 2 million Nubians once they built that dam, and they're still stuck in an area right today that's not fertile, and they really regret allowing them to do that because they
Yeah,
told them that they were going to repatriate them back to their homeland just on the outside of the lake, and they didn't do that. So I've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
researching ever since. So I mean, the stuff is crazy. It's a sinister situation. And, I'm just trying to defend what's right.
yeah. That's an ongoing battle and struggle, of the people who we call Nubians today. They similarly have the same struggle that African Americans had through civil rights, because they promised them certain concessions and things like that, and they reneged. The Egyptian government reneged,
Right.
and so now if you go to the Nubian village near Aswan today, they'll tell you all kinds of stories. Like, I've seen a lot of video footage of people visiting over there, and then they tell their story. You can go on YouTube. There's people that will show you. They're complaining. Matter of fact, it's so bad on that issue that they started to um take on families and wives of each other, because they feel like their culture is just going to be lost. So you
Hmm.
got, cousins marrying each other, first cousins and stuff, and whatnot over there. That's another thing they talk about. Yep, to
Yeah.
keep the culture alive. So yeah, but it's real simple. This is the main, now, not 100%. So if we had a pizza pie or sweet potato pie, 100%, and it represents Egypt culturally. Most of the cultural items have a genesis in this area where this red oval is, and but it
Right.
moves. It has a northward movement, which is downstream, which is a
Mhm.
natural flow. You know, um, but in terms of people, this is where the argument goes crazy for me. In terms, oh, I gotta make it big. Sorry, y'all. In terms of the peopling of this Nile Valley and Delta area, the peopling came in from many directions. And so that's what another thing people gotta understand. So you got people coming from the west, people coming from over here in the Middle East, the Levant, people coming from the south, etc., all converging over time. This is pre-dynastic, onto the river. You know, and so the people is one thing. The peopling of that area is one thing, but what became Egypt is another. That has its origin or genesis down here in this area that I've been showing, and then it moved up to the point where these larger communities start to form Voltron, as we say, and start clicking up and forming a confederacy. No, similar to the United States. The United States started off with 13 colonies. Before it was 13 colonies, it was just disparate or separate colonies. Each one had their own control, rule, whatever, whatever. Then they unified the 13 colonies, forming a confederacy here in the United States. Then they started purchasing land. The Louisiana Purchase, if y'all remember y'all civics classes, Louisiana Purchase, and then they got some more territory. Then they got all the way out to what we have now. And certain states within the United States started forming, and then they formed a union, and then they created a contract for the independent states to fall up under and unify, and that contract was the Constitution of the United States of America. That's what it is, a contract. So that process is a modern process, but that's similarly what happened in ancient times. People started to unify, and for whatever the reason is, and so yeah, I mean that's it. I mean it's really just simple like that. We don't have to complicate it. Whether they
Right.
were black and all that kind of stuff is really, I'm telling you, I'm gonna put together the information to slow walk everybody through that whole black thing, that whole, right, why is it even an argument, and why it's retarded, you
But you
know.
know why it's an argument? The argument was the agenda was pushed by the early Egyptologists. We didn't get
Yes.
into the fight until Diop and them showed up.
Yeah,
To
but I'm
try.
saying,
So that's what the fight is. You can't
yeah,
change the fight, but we just was born into this. But so
yeah.
we're just a continuation of the fight. But the fight
Well,
was proposed back, I guess, what in the 1870s. It's really been going on for a very long time, maybe 500. or so years. Like I put all this stuff together like a puzzle, Jaro. So when you start thinking back, and you find out that your people wasn't allowed to read, and you put all that into the mix, and then they reintroduce your people back into literary text with the Bible, um, to redirect your historical lineage and stuff like that, and then you come up on this type of information, and then you just think like, oh, so this is what they was trying to do. They was trying to redirect us historically, and then later on, um, we had some elders that come into the mix and went and found our history.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, all of it's like a puzzle. You know what I'm saying? And you guys are at the stage where you guys are actually starting to read the language, and that's just another step into in the puzzle of putting the puzzle back together.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't want
Well,
right. Go ahead.
no, no, I was just gonna say that what I meant by why there's even a fight is to say did why was it even necessary for Diop and Obinga and everybody else to even trigger this pushback. So I'm saying on the European side, early Egyptology formed in 1832. From that point forward, why there was even a need to trigger this pushback, and what we're going through right now. So, but we can't get trapped in the game because the way they designed it was that we can get engulfed. Like we think we're fighting something, but we're entangling ourselves in it at the same time, not knowing it, and we got to be real careful. It's almost like saying I'm saying it's a trap. Like they
Right.
like they booby trapped the argument, anticipating us to argue back. And from what I see, people are falling for it. They're
Right, and that's
falling for it,
dangerous.
and
But
that's very
like
dangerous.
with the last time me, you and Jonathan was on, the sentiments have come from a lot of mischievous behavior with people that said that aligned themselves with this information.
Yeah.
So and then you got a lot of people with historical bias because they don't want this to be true. So you got Hebrews that have always been the historical enemy of Kemet based on the history that they told us. Because they told us that we enslaved Moses. See, this is what you're talking about, the trap that they set into the information. So when a person that's a Christian is listening and he's saying, "Oh well, the Egyptians they enslaved Moses," they're not going to want to have anything to do with the information on surface. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And that's a
Mm-hmm.
booby trap that, like you're talking about, that they set into the information. So
Yeah.
all of this plays into a bigger puzzle. If people don't want to, if they can't put a puzzle together, you know what I'm saying? That it's real simple to me.
Right. 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 And people are missing the mark by introducing things irrelevant to the conversation. Like they don't know how to organize the conversation. So people bringing in genetics where it has no relevancy, even though genetics is a great and important thing, but they don't have no relevancy in certain conversations. People bringing in some other terminology that doesn't apply, and it's all over the place. You
Yeah,
know.
and I see like in the chat, I guess people are saying they are their own people, which I agree because I'm not saying that I'm an Egyptian. I'm just saying that this is where the source of what academia um, termed the source of civilization or one of the origins of civilization. You may have a couple of other ones, but you'd have to do the chronology on this first, that first, what was brought in, and all of that argument. But for
Mm-hmm.
the most part, Egypt, and see what I'm saying, everything that's argued with Jahu is all about what was written. Nothing is argued about anything verbal. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yep.
Let me just
Yeah.
address this. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, now I was just gonna say that people always have to just kind of keep it in mind that arguing about what the race of ancient Egyptians could have been is as useless, very very useless in a point that we understand and we're very aware of the fact that at this point in time, maybe at some point, but at this point in time, Europeans are not arguing about they were white, because the goalpost already moved from that, from the past, you know, um, consensus. But we have to understand that whoever people, when they study Egyptology, nobody's actually doing that because they're trying to find themselves in the ancient Egyptians. It's a field of study, and other people are very comfortable studying Egyptology and studying about ancient Egyptian culture and the language, and for useful purposes, right? So, and that's what we need to keep in mind, because if we say they were black, so what? If we say they were not black, so what? If at the end of the day, the conversations that are coming from these people are for from people who, whether they figure out, or you give them an answer or that they want to hear, it's not going to propel them into studying the language and the culture. They just want to know something for their own feel good stuff, and that's the most useless thing, or the most useless reason to have a conversation for decades. Like, I just want to know, so you keep pushing this conversation for decades. If we're going to study the culture and the language, there has to be something more robust. There has to be a better reason as to why we are studying, other than I need to figure out if they were my people, in that sense. So that is something that we always have to keep in mind.
Okay, just real quick. Yeah, that's a very good point. Um, and that's how I see. I just want to show my screen here just to kind of clear up, not to clear up, but just to make sure everyone is clear on this point. Um, something that I say all the time, and when it comes up, is that when we say upper and lower Kemet, when we say upper and lower Kemet, these are simply typographical labels. And all that the scholars mean when they say that is it deals with topography and altitude. And so on the left hand side would be the Mediterranean, the sea, Mediterranean Sea would be on the left. And to the right, you're going towards Sudan. So I'm just gonna put Sudan here. Um, all right, so this is Egypt. So upper Egypt. So let me actually label it then. So upper Kemet or Egypt would be obviously upper, and then lower would be over here. It's just that simple. So upper Kemet is higher in altitude, and lower Kemet is lower in altitude. All right, just so everyone's clear on that. Let me move this comment. Just so everyone's clear on that. Now the Egyptians reflect this a bit because they call lower Kemet, they called it Ta Mehu. And the word Mehu means low. It means submerged. It's actually a word for a crocodile deity because crocodiles are known to be submerged underwater. It's also a word for the lower parts of the body, which are the feet. And so Ta Mehu, Ta meaning region. So it's the lower region. That's what it means. It's the lower region. And we call it lower Egypt. All right? And we translate Ta Mehu as the north. Because on our maps, it is north. It's up. It's north. Upper Kemet is called Ta Shemau because of the narrowness of the river. The river narrows. So somewhere like if I were to draw, if I had another line, let me see. If I were to put an arrow right here just to show you all, somewhere right about here, that this is why upper Egypt is much larger than lower Egypt. Because somewhere about right here, now if I'm gonna show you on the other map, but somewhere right around here is where lower Kemet ends. And the reason why is because the delta ends if we were to work our way. And then all of this strip of river is more narrow. And that's the valley. So We have scholars who keep saying Nile Valley civilization, and we need to upgrade that and say Nile Valley and Delta civilization. Because if you say Nile Valley civilization, you're only talking about the narrow part. You're totally missing out the Delta, because the Delta is not a valley. You see, and the Egyptians told us, if we're going to respect the Egyptians in their naming convention, we would definitely say, we would definitely say that. We would say Nile Valley and Delta civilization. That's what we should call it now. Nile Valley and Delta civilization. Reason why is because the Egyptians called their land this word right here, Tawi. And Tawi is a dual word. It's the dualization of the word Ta that you see here. That you see right here if you see my cursor. It's the dual. Can y'all see my cursor? Guess y'all can't. Okay. Well, I mean with this arrow right here. This word Ta right here, that's a singular. It means depending on the context, it can mean earth as opposed to the sky. It can mean a flat strip of land, a plain field, a plain land, or it can mean region. And Ta Mehu is the region of the lowland region. And Tawi is the name of the whole country, because they always saw their country as the unification of two regions. And this word right here is what they called is Shema'u. Ta Shema'u is what they call Upper Egypt. So you had Ta Mehu and Ta Shema'u. The two Tas form a duality, Tawi. And when the two lands were unified, they referred to it as Sema Tawi. Sema Tawi, or Sama Tawi, which means unification or the union of the two lands or the two regions. That's what Egypt is. And so us saying now Valley and Delta is in the spirit of tradition of saying two things as one. Okay, so I hope everybody understands that. And really, we should if we're going to say
I
upper
get
and lower.
what you're basically saying is, because now, and see, this is where my simplification expertise come in. You're
All right, go ahead.
saying now that
break it down. Break it down.
now that you can read, now that we can read the language, you have what Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben them gave us, because they wasn't fluent in the language. You're not doing a correction. You're doing an update. Of the terms. That's beautiful.
There you go.
See, because a lot of times our people will be like, man, Dr. Ben them, they was working with they was the progenitors to this. So they were working with what they had at the time, but they put us just like bloodhounds. They put us on the trail. So what you guys are doing now is just coming in. So we used to say Nile Valley civilization, and see, you added the Delta and Delta, but then you go back with the language and then tell us why. So that's beautiful. Now, why do you have Sudan right there at the highland right there? That's my question.
Yeah, because modern Egypt ends at Sudan. Like Sudan is the next country.
Okay, bam. So from that high point right there, when did it start going back down?
That's the thing. It doesn't really go down. It levels off. Like it never goes back to sea level. It just, like, if I were to put another, let me put another thing here. It kind of levels off. If I were to be more realistic, it kind of levels off right there, and then it forms like a flat area, but then it starts going up again.
So where are the mountains at? Where are these mountains where this water is coming from?
The mountains is down there in Uganda and Kenya.
Okay.
Way down. Like,
so you saying Sudan is flatland, all the way down to Kenya.
Yeah, well,
because I'm trying to find out where is the peak and the source of this water. Like, isn't it coming from a mountain or something?
Yeah. One tributary, like the Nile is you got the White Nile and then the Blue Nile, and the White Nile origin. Matter of fact, let's pull the map up, because I don't want to go off
Yeah,
the top of my
that's
head.
beautiful.
Let me pull the map up, and we're gonna find out the origin of the Nile River. All right, so let's go to Nile. Let me share. Let me take this off the screen.
Yeah, see, I would love to see the elevation levels, or like, or when does it start back dipping? Because the mountain has a peak. So when does it start back going down,
Yeah.
or does
Okay.
it?
So y'all should be able to see my screen now.
Okay.
So this is a good old free Wikipedia. All right. The Nile. Now, if you look at the, let me pull this up. If I could pull it. Yeah. Here we go. Nice. Oh man, it's small though. Maybe I can make it big. Let's see. All right. There we go. All right. So y'all be able to see it. Okay. So the Nile, we know where it ends at. It ends in the Mediterranean Sea. That's a no brainer. But as you travel upstream, you hit Luxor. Right at Aswan, you got the newly created Lake Nasser, what we were talking about earlier, right? Then you have Khartoum, which I mentioned earlier, which is in Sudan. This is where the blue and the white Nile converge. So the origin of the blue Nile is Lake Tana, which is in Ethiopia. And then the origin of the white Nile is all the way near Lake Victoria, which is in Kenya.
Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania.
And Lake Victoria is a lake that's occupied by three countries: Uganda, Kenya, yep, and Tanzania. But it originates on the Ugandan side of Lake Victoria. And remember, this is mountainous. Where's Mount Kilimanjaro? Let me get.
That's actually almost to the central west side of Kenya. Oh, wait. No, you said Kilimanjaro. I was thinking about Kenya. That one you'll find between Kenya and Tanzania, the border.
It's down here somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm only reason why I mentioned that, not to say that the Nile comes from that mountain, but Kenya is known for its mountains and stuff. So name some mountains, since you're from Kenya. So give us a geographical tour.
Oh no, I can name two. I think the Kilimanjaro, I think, is kind of bordered, and then you have Mount Kenya.
Okay, Mount Kenya. Is that what the country named after? Mount Kenya.
Um, yeah, kind of. But it's not. It's what is it called? It's a Kikuyu name that kind of was kind of spelled pronounced differently by the Europeans that turned into the word Kenya, but it comes from the mountain Kenya as well.
Okay, well there you go. There y'all have it. See, y'all getting these plus lessons. But anyway, so James, you straight on that. So the origin of the Nile is Lake Victoria and Lake Tana. And the city of Khartoum, Sudan, is where they come together, and then it starts flowing down. But then you have this regress, so it flows downstream or flows north, but then it curves back on itself, and then it heads into a northern direction again. And think about this. But now check this out, y'all. So man, I can't. Man, let me copy this map, cause I need my trusty arrows.
So I'm just thinking, because this river runs north, these obviously those lands inward, much inward, like Kenya, Ethiopia, they have to be higher than Sudan, right? Because the river's still running that way. Is
Um,
that how that works?
oh, let me see if I can drag this. No, I can't even drag it over. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this map on my screen so I can play with it. I need to manipulate it. Hold up 1 second. I'm gonna get it. Y'all bear with me. Nope, it won't let me do it. All right. Oh, so I'm sorry. Say what you were saying.
No, I was just saying, so basically the highlands are in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and then the river, everything from that point is going down the Nile.
Yes,
So I'm talking
it
about as
flow.
far as elevation,
Yeah. That's why.
because
That's why.
gravity pushes it that way.
Exactly. So no matter what, we know that we know that along the Nile, as you travel south, you're going higher in elevation. It would be against laws of physics for
Right.
the river to go uphill.
Okay, where do you suppose the Twa was? Because see, one thing about this mapping and where they saying these people come from, Europeans will tell you that they didn't get into the interior of Africa till after the 1800s. So how do they know where they got the Twa from? How far down is that? And based on what we know where those people are today, or we would call the Twa, they're down way further south. So would you think that if you think that they were going that far down into the interior of Africa to get to Twa? Like how
Um,
far down do you think they were going? Like it's no Kenya, it's no Twas in Kenya, is it? Well, maybe it is.
well, Emicat,
No.
So they're further down than Kenya, right?
further down than Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
get
See,
this map
so
here.
I'm just saying
So
because they don't know how far they down these lands are. They just telling you Punt was here, but that's just a rough estimate. You don't know
all
how
right.
far down Punt was or something, do you?
Well, they have more data now to kind of pinpoint where Punt was versus the older scholarship because they started to do testing on the different animals and they got the
Mhm.
species and stuff like that and where they normally would be, their habitation would be and stuff. So they kind of narrowed down pinpoint Punt, but they also had the same equivalent problem with the place called Yam, or what we call Imam in the language. That location was elusive. Scholars didn't know where that was, and they thought it was closer to the Egyptian borders, but on the side of Sudan. But come to find out, it's much further south than that. You
Right.
know, um, so during these expeditions and stuff, the Egyptians did travel into these areas, to meet up with the Twa, or as people call them, the Twa, pygmies, or whatever the case is. They had to. They. I mean, they have attested records showing it. They got glyphs.
Right.
You know, um, the scene of Hatshepsut had interaction. Harkuf interaction. So, but I'm trying to get this map up here. Let me switch over because I want y'all to see this because I want to make an interesting point here. Oh, it's definitely too small. Can I make it bigger? Ah, yeah, there we go. It's gonna be blurry, but I just want to make a point. I want y'all to see something, notice something. So here's Egypt. Get my arrow going on here. All right. So here's Egypt. Make it red. Right. We see the borders of Egypt, the Libyan Egypt border, and then the Sudan Egypt border. Right. So that's the border. So, but what I want y'all to notice is that the Nile is pretty straight. Like, I mean, it curves, but it's pretty kind of straight, even with the curves, right? It goes from up down, but not until about right here. If I put my little oval on here, let me grab my oval real quick. And trust me, y'all, I am making a point. I want y'all to notice this area right here. Let's narrow it down a little bit. Right there. Now, what I want y'all to pay attention to is volume of water per square mile or per square meter, however you want to, whatever unit of measurement you want to use. So now you see where my oval is. You see the top of the oval to the bottom of the oval. Now within this space, you have a certain volume of water, and it's way more water than if I move this up here. And notice I didn't resize my oval. It's the same height. You have less water in this area than you do in this area by virtue of the fact that the Nile doubles back on itself. As it flows upward or in the northern direction, it folds back on itself to come down again. Then it goes back up. So it forms like a S. And so because of this area, there's more access to water here. And so this is the Genesis area of the Egyptian what we come to know as Egyptian civilization and what scholars misnomer as Nubian civilizations. Access to water. So of course people are gonna uh, you know, populate and be in this area and be more sedentary and things and kick things off because it's more availability of water. And then as the Nile flows down, we know that the flooding of the Nile, because it doesn't flood anymore, but the flooding of the Nile caused deposits to come down here. So it forced people to be like, well, wait a minute. We got access to water directly, but the fertileness of it is down here because of the way nature works, and the water comes and beats the minerals off the rocks and the riverbanks and stuff. The deposits of fertile cultivatable area is all down here. And so people moved in that direction and came in this direction downstream. And so this is where you have the distinction made and the name or the meaning, the true meaning of the word Kemet. It means riparian country. A land, a area of land that has access to water. That's what it is. As opposed to land that doesn't have access to water that we call deseret or desert. A desert has no water. A fertile area does have access to water. Kemet versus deseret. There it is. All this stuff is very, very simple when we really slow the conversations down. It's real simple. People moved from this area in the northern movement. Some people didn't. They stayed here. And the people further south, and what happened, well, just real quick, the people who was further south moved upward, but they didn't keep it going. They moved here and formed Kush. So you have Kush is right around here on my arrow. Let me move this right. Kush is right around here. Wawet, that they call Lower Nubia, is right about here. So this whole area, you got Napata, Meroe right about here. So Napata, Meroe, Kush is over here. If I go back to this map, you see it. Kush is right here. Wawa is right there. Napata is right there. So there you have it. Those people formed state. They had state formation down there too. And that's why Kush rivaled Kemet. And I mean, not rival. That's not why the rivalry was there, but it was contemporary to it. So I hope everybody get it now. Now Sudan is split. Now you got North and South Sudan now.
Yeah, through the Arab conquest, they push them further south.
Yeah, and at another time, what I want to explain, I guess too late to start that conversation now, but I want everybody to be clear on Ethiopia, the country, versus Ethiopia, the region. And that's another confusing and banana and tailpipe situation, because people think that Ethiopia is the mother of Egypt, as if it's the country. No, people got to understand that the Greeks. James, I'm gonna ask you if you know this. How did the Greeks view the world? Are you familiar with how the Greeks saw Africa or even the whole world? I mean, in terms of geography, not the planet.
I'm not sure what you're asking me. How did they view the world? What do you mean?
Like, okay, hold on. Let me see. Do it this way. See if I can do it this way. Give me 1 second. To get back to here. Okay, so y'all are seeing that. Let me look up. Let's see, Greek view of Africa. This definitely.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're talking about that, they said that all
here we
of
go.
the
This
people,
right here.
Oh yeah,
Here
I
we go.
know what you mean.
This what I'm gonna look up right there. This I want y'all to see. That's right here. Can y'all see that?
No, we see pottery and everything. We see everything, but you got a whole bunch of stuff up. Pottery. You got a map over there to the right, but it's not big.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me fix that. I don't know why that's going on. What's going on with that? Let me stop sharing and share this again. Yeah, I want y'all to see this. Get this. Yeah, here we go. Okay, now you see it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Greeks' conceptualization, um, um, point of view, all that good stuff, right? Perspective of the geography of the world. This is circa 8th century BCE, all right? During Homer or Homerus and the Iliad, Odyssey, all of that good stuff, right? This is how they conceived the world. They had the Atlantic Sea, Erythraean Sea, Austral Sea, and then all these things. Now, mind you, the Greeks call Africa Libya.
Right.
They call everything below. Look how they got the Nile. They got the Nile coming from the Mediterranean, going all the way into West Africa.
Because they have no knowledge of where the
Good.
source. That's because they have no knowledge of where the source is at this point too.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that if people are not careful when they read these texts, if they don't understand the perception of the people and the authors of these texts of the day and time it's in, they're gonna think when the Greeks talk about the bottom of the Nile, they're talking about West Africa, but it's not. We know the Nile's not in West Africa. We know that their perception was warped. So, but anyway, but my point though is that everything below this line was called Ethiopia to them. Not just
Right.
the country, not just the country. And mind you, this is the Horn of Africa. So if we go to a real map of Africa, the Greeks were totally ignorant of everything below the Horn of Africa.
Right. And everything.
And
And watch this. I would suppose right here that where was Thebes was that at some point I had a video of the guy that did a lot of the excavation and the one that's his name Go Valley or something like that. The one that found Aswan.
mm-hmm,
He was
mm-hmm,
the man. He was the famous Egyptologist, and he I think it was 1816. That was the furthest they had ever been at that time down the Nile. Everything else
yeah,
that they had learned about the Nile was from
yep,
the Egyptians themselves.
yep, and Greek
They
texts
told
and
them
stuff.
what was beyond that point, and
Yep.
they just probably mapped this in based on what the Egyptians had told them. That's what I wanted
Hey,
to interject.
no, and you're right, and you're right. There was the origin of the Nile was a mystery up until fairly recent times. I mean, relatively speaking.
1800s.
Yeah.
They just mapped out the see. That's what I'm saying. The 18. If people just knew that these people just really got a full grasp of the continent in the 1800s, that'd let you know that they don't know much. And then a lot of
So
the stuff that they do is just to try to put themselves in a certain light. So the fight comes from that. I don't see how they try to say like Egypt were Afrocentrics. They demonize and using that word in a demonizing way to demonize the African scholars that fought for us to correct the history.
yeah, and I had a chance to peep in on Jonathan's on Smash Rockwell's conversation earlier, chimed in right before he logged off, and I know he went in on the Ethiopians in terms of the meaning, burnt face and all that good stuff. Um, and maybe I'll do another show because I don't want to start the conversation now. It's late, but um, but it's very important for people to understand that during this time period, what the Greeks were calling the Ethiopians were so named because they were on the edge of their known world, and so Ethiopian had the connotation of meaning those people who live far away on the edge of the world. And the Macrobians, that word simply means long live. So they named these folks, which is a type of Ethiopian, after their longevity. And so people got to understand there was no racial connotation in any of this at all. And people just gotta understand that. And then when the Romans come on the scene, they call this area up here Africa. So Africa wasn't even the whole continent at one point. I mean, I know everybody's familiar with that already, but the Romans came in and called this Africa, and you still had Libya, then you had Egyptos, and then you had Ethiops. And so that's how this started to take shape. And so what scholars did to start the whole racial period of time, racial era, they leveraged this. They utilized the splitting of the continent in this view and started to put a racial thing on it, which is a what do you call it? Discriminatory spin on it, which gave birth to racism and the modern social construct of race.
What is this brown stuff? What does that mean? Do you know?
On the map, they should have a legend on here. I think I blew it up. I don't see what the brown would be. I'm assuming that's elevation, that's highlands.
Okay.
But I'm just assuming that right now. But let me just take this back off the screen. But yeah, hopefully everybody get that, get those points. So
yeah, I just wanted to come in and chime in and see what you thought about what I was thinking. I don't want to be on too long. So that's pretty much what that's pretty